Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Righty-o, the British Grand Prix is coming up this weekend, and after, well, the relative excitement of the Austrian Grand Prix last weekend, I guess the question is, can anybody beat Max Verstappen? And I think the simple answer, as usual, is probably not, unless he has, once again, some kind of issue with his car or gets some kind of penalty. Even if he gets a penalty or he's put back 10 positions or doesn't qualify well, you would imagine he's going to make his way through the field and somehow end up in first place. Possibly Perez is the only person that could beat him in a situation like that, but we've seen it before that Perez just doesn't have the ability somehow to match him. And it was interesting because I was listening today, they were talking on Sky Sports about the fluctuations that the other teams behind Max Verstappen have seen, where Ferrari have been strong in some races. I was about to say Red Bull, not Red Bull, they're strong in every race, well, Max Verstappen is. And then we've seen Mercedes, Aston Martin, and there's a little bit of McLaren creeping into the equation at the moment. But they've fluctuated in terms of what they can do. And it seems that most of the cars are set up where they suit certain circuits, and there are ones that it just the aero setup, the low drag, whatever it is, works really, really well for them. And even at the British Grand Prix this weekend, based on the practice sessions already we've seen, and there was a pattern here for the last 2 years as well, Williams are very fast at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. And looking at P1 and P2 today, well, you'd have to be a little bit worried for Mercedes because they don't look like they're on the speed at all. However, in saying that, there is an indication that maybe they're sandbagging. Aston Martin, probably not the second best team. And actually, it would be pretty depressing if it wasn't for the fact that Carlos Sainz managed to finish, what was it, 10,000ths of a second or something like that behind Max Verstappen. So it makes you feel like there's a little bit of hope that something dramatic could happen during qualifying tomorrow. It probably won't, and we all know in race spec that Max Verstappen is quite good himself. The other interesting aspect, of course, is Sergio Perez has shown these fluctuations. We don't know, is it a fluctuation in the car from track to track, or has Perez just been going through bad form? So that's a bit of an unknown. All of that's going to play out. So real question, once again, is who can come second in the British Grand Prix? Hopefully the answer isn't Perez, because the answer could be Perez. Who's second best in terms of teams then? As it stands, it looks like it could be Ferrari, Aston Martin are thereabouts. As I said, Williams are looking strong, so they look like they could be in the points. They're definitely not going to be pushing for podium places. And McLaren are looking quite strong. We saw a good showing from McLaren at the Austrian Grand Prix, and I think they're going to do something similar again at the British Grand Prix. Now, let me very quickly look at my notes to see what we've forgotten. Coming back to Verstappen, of course, he's pretty much activated God mode now. If this was a video game, he'd have all the cheat codes enabled. The last time out, he was just so dominant, about 25 seconds ahead of the Ferrari, and then he decided that he was just going to pit to try and go for the fastest lap. It's not like he needed the points, but no, that's his utter domination. Not only is he finishing on top of almost every session that he takes part in, but he's also now saying that, I want all the points on offer. And he's also shown a huge amount of trust in his team. He didn't hesitate. He knew that the Red Bull team could get that pit stop done and could get him back out, and he'd be leading the race, and he'd go and he'd set his fastest lap. And he has faith in the car as well, that the car is going to be good enough to do that, that it's not going to have some kind of mechanical failure and he's going to end up in the wall. So it's a very scary prospect for the rest of the season. And Red Bull have won every single race so far this season. Perez, I think, has won 2 races, isn't it? And Verstappen has won the rest of them. So it looks very ominous. It really does. I don't mean to be all doom and gloom, but sticking with doom and gloom, there are rumours going around that De Vries is going to be kicked out of Formula 1 soon as well. So Helmut Marko has decided he has until the summer break to make an impact with quite a bad AlphaTauri team, I would say. It's not a great car at all this year, and they have apparently brought upgrades to the British Grand Prix this weekend. Didn't see them, I have to say, during practice 1 and practice 2 today. It looked like they're still firmly towards the back of the grid. things are really not looking good for Nick de Vries, and he didn't have a great season in Formula E last year either, so I don't know if he's just off the boil, but he had, of course, a good result for Williams last year when he stood in for one race, but you have to bear in mind that the Italian Grand Prix at Monza is probably one of the better circuits for the Williams car still. You know, he did amazing to bring it home where he did. And yeah, so I think that's about it. Doesn't look like we should have any penalty issues this weekend in terms of track limits. I haven't heard anything, certainly from the practice sessions, about there being issues with track limits, but time will tell on that one. I have to hand it to Ocon on his 30 seconds, was it, he racked up in the end, and all the whining coming from Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton won't be happy this weekend if the car isn't running well at his home Grand Prix. You know, he really wants to do well at the British Grand Prix. But yeah, look, as it stands at the moment, my predictions for the weekend: Max Verstappen's going to win, Perez will probably come second, and then it's going to be the Ferraris, and maybe Alonso will push them behind that. And I'm hoping, I'm predicting a pretty good weekend for McLaren as well. Norris really needs to do something with that car now. He had a good opportunity last time out and he just didn't take that opportunity. So this is the weekend to do it at his home Grand Prix. We'll see how it plays out. Anyway, I'm planning to do a watch along for this race. Didn't get to do one for the Austrian Grand Prix, unfortunately. So I hope to see you there. And yeah, let's have a good weekend of Formula One racing.